William Golding was a famous English writer, best known for his novel Lord of the Flies. He was born on September 19, 1911 in St. Columb Minor, a small town in Cornwall, England. Golding was the son of a teacher and a suffragist, a woman who fought for the right to vote. He grew up in a time when the world was changing a lot, with wars and new ideas about how people should live together. From a young age, Golding loved books and reading. He went to school at Marlborough College, where he did well in his studies. During his time there, he showed an interest in writing, and often read books about the sea, which later inspired much of his work. After finishing school, Golding went to Oxford University, where he studied English literature. At Oxford, he met many other students who loved books, and he began to write his own stories and poetry. He learned a lot about the power of words and the ways in which writing can help people think about the world around them. Golding graduated from Oxford in 1934, but instead of immediately focusing on writing, he took a job as a teacher. He taught English at a school for young boys, and it was during this time that he began to develop ideas that would later appear in his novels. Golding also wrote for the stage, but he did not become widely known as a writer until later in his life. In 1940, at the start of World War II, Golding joined the British Navy. The war had a huge impact on his life and shaped many of the ideas he would explore in his writing. Golding spent time at sea during the war, and he saw firsthand how people could become cruel and violent in difficult situations. These experiences made him think deeply about human nature, and he began to believe that people were capable of both good and bad actions, depending on the circumstances. The things he saw in the war influenced many of the characters and themes in his books. After the war, Golding returned to teaching and continued writing. In 1954, he published Lord of the Flies, his first novel. This book is about a group of boys who get stranded on a remote island after a plane crash. At first, they try to organize themselves and live in peace. However, as time passes, their behavior becomes more and more violent. The boys start to fight for power and lose control. Some of them even start to believe that they need to kill others in order to survive. Golding's story shows how, without rules or adults to guide them, people can quickly turn to chaos. The novel explores the darker side of human nature, asking important questions about the struggle between good and evil. When Lord of the Flies was first published, it did not become an immediate bestseller. Many readers found the story too dark and disturbing. However, over the years, the book became more popular. Today, Lord of the Flies is considered one of the most important books in English literature. It has been translated into many languages and is studied in schools all over the world. It has also been made into several films and plays. The novel's powerful message about human behavior, survival, and society continues to be relevant, even decades after it was first published. After the success of Lord of the Flies, Golding wrote several more books, many of which explored similar themes about human nature and society. One of his other well-known books is The Inheritors, 1955, which tells the story of early humans who must survive in a world filled with dangers. The book is about the conflict between these early humans and other creatures, including more dangerous, stronger beings. Golding explores the idea of what makes humans different from other animals, and how human beings have developed their own ways of thinking and acting over time. Another important book by Golding is The Spire, 1964. This novel is about a priest who builds a huge tower on top of a church, even though it seems impossible. The priest believes that building the tower will bring him closer to God. However, his obsession with the tower causes problems for him and the people around him. The book explores themes of faith, ambition, and the dangers of ignoring the needs of others. Like many of his other works, The Spire asks readers to think about the balance between personal desires and the needs of the community. One of Golding's later works is Rites of Passage, 1980, which won the Booker Prize, one of the most prestigious awards for writers. This novel tells the story of a young man who travels on a ship to Australia in the 19th century. On the ship, he meets many different people, each with their own beliefs and values. As the journey continues, the young man learns important lessons about society, power, and the challenges of growing up. Rites of Passage shows how people are shaped by their experiences and the ways in which society influences their actions. William Golding's writing was often complex and not always easy to understand. Many of his books contain deep philosophical ideas, and readers have to think carefully about the messages he is trying to communicate. Golding's works often ask difficult questions, such as, why do people act the way they do? What makes someone a good or bad person? Can society really protect us from our worst instincts? These questions still challenge readers today, and Golding's work remains a key part of the conversation about human behavior and society. Golding's impact on literature was recognized during his lifetime. In 1983, he won the Booker Prize for Rites of Passage, and in 1988, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature. The Nobel Prize is one of the highest honors a writer can receive, and it was given to Golding because his work helped people think more deeply about human nature and society. The Nobel Committee praised Golding for the way his books examined the darker side of life, while also showing the complexity of human beings. William Golding continued to write until his death in 1993. Even though he is no longer alive, his books continue to be read by people around the world. His work is still taught in schools, and many readers still find his ideas about society, power, and human nature thought-provoking and important. Lord of the Flies remains his most famous book, but all of his novels have had a lasting impact. Golding's writing made readers think about life in new ways, and his exploration of human behavior is still relevant today. Even though his books can be difficult to read at times, they encourage readers to think critically about the world and the people around them. In conclusion, William Golding was an important writer who asked deep and difficult questions about human nature, society, and the world. His works, especially Lord of the Flies, have had a lasting influence on literature and continue to inspire readers and writers today. Through his stories, Golding challenged people to think about the good and bad in human nature, and to consider how society shapes the way we act. Although his books sometimes show the darker side of humanity, they also show that understanding these challenges can help us become better people. Golding's works will continue to be studied, read, and remembered for many years to come.